Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks DIY Garage. Well, I'm working on this Denmark Plus lawn tractor here, and last summer, the very last time I mowed the lawn, I went to shut this thing down and the fuel started just pouring out of here. So somewhere something's got clogged in here for the fuel bowl shut off here, and so I'm going to take this apart and clean it up. So you're going to kind of have to use your imagination a little bit here. But first you have this on there, that pops off, which brings this off. I'll just throw the parts and pieces in there. Then on top of the filter you got that right there, that comes off. Your filter comes off. Then with this right here is a bolt that comes out of there. It is, let me make sure, I think I ended up using an 8mm. I actually think this tractor takes standard fittings, but 8mm worked on that. Then right here and here are two 7/16 nuts, one here, one here. Pull those off. Right here is an 8mm yet again, I believe. Yep, 8mm that pulls out of just the plastic body here, and then this little, there's a bracket that hooks to the side of the motor that'll kind of set to the side. And back here there's like a rubber like vacuum hose type thing, positive vanc PVC, I don't know, it goes into the crankcase anyways. For some reason it's escaping me. And anyway, that pops off back there. I just used my finger and it popped right off. And then this pulls straight back and up and comes off, and you can see your carburetor. But you do have your piece here hook into the it's the governor actually is what this one is, and behind that's the governor spring, which you have to be very careful with. And then you got your throttle mechanism that works off the governor hooked to this one, and that one should pull directly out without unhooking anything, but these ones we're going to have to unhook from here. So starting out, I have a 5/16 wrench here, and those studs that these nuts were on top of for that top piece there also have the 5/16. It's a bolt that goes all the way through. It's more of a stud bolt combo, and that comes through here and on the other side, which pulls those out, and in theory should be all we need to do to take this carburetor the rest of the way off once we get it kind of unhooked from things. Now I'm going to try and be careful and not break anything here. Okay, I'm going to find a place to tap here. I think this thing's been on here since day one. Oh, there we go. Then, let's see here, we're going to pull that this way, which pulls this thing out here, which I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. It just goes right up in here. This runs through a little slot that it rides on, and then these should be able to tip the carburetor, get that one off and that one off. Hopefully you saw that. Now we're going to take this inside and clean it all up. I'm going to be really careful with this because I don't have another gasket. More than likely the needle in here is stuck open, and even when this comes up and says hey stop, it still keeps dumping fuel in there. So like most carburetors, there's a pin that usually you can pull out one way or the other or both ways, and pull this off of here. And this is the needle I was talking about, and it's still got the rubbery feel to it, and it still feels pretty good. And so there might be just some gunk down in there. I'm going to set that outside of the pan as well, along with that, just to keep because I don't really want to get a whole lot of carb cleaner on that. Anything metal I don't really care about. In fact, I'm gonna shoot a little bit down on the bottom of this just to let it soak. Okay, now that is really gooey in there. That actually doesn't look so bad down in there. I was hoping we could maybe shoot a little bit of something down in there, put the needle down through there and call it a day, but I think we're going to have to dig a little deeper into this. Oh boy, well that may be the death of me right there. I need a thicker one like this, but that'll fit down in there. That just was too thin and stripped. Doggone it. Nope. This is definitely not coming out of here. So my next best bet will be to try and fix it in there. I'm going to have to see what I can find for gasket stuff, and I'm just going to put this back together kind of the way it was, and next time you see it, it'll probably be back on the tractor. Alright, that should do it. Normally I'd put a shut off in here, but right now I have went places for another tractor of mine, and I could only find one a long time ago, and it took me 3 or 4 different places, and I'm not going to do that right now. I like shutting it off so that I can shut off the fuel to the carburetor, but for now I can easily undo this one and dump it out at the end of the year if I need to. At some point I might go ahead and cut this and put a shut off in there. It's windy out, so hopefully you're getting any of this audio, but let's put some fuel in it and see where we go from here and hope that it works. I went ahead and took the filter off so that if I put fuel in this and it just starts automatically dumping fuel out, I'll know sooner and I won't get my filter all messed up again. Uh-oh. Alright, it's filling up with fuel. Darn it, darn it, darn it. What in the world is going on here? Darn it. And here we are again. I I probably could rebuild the carburetor, and I looked for kits to see if I could do it just because I wanted to. And quite honestly, all said and done, these right here, China made or wherever made carburetors get a pretty good reviews most of the time. It seems like it is kind of the luck of the draw, so we'll see how my luck is. And I decided just to grab this so I can hopefully put that thing together and be done with it. We'll see. I believe, if it looks like the pictures anyway, that there are some adjustments on it, so I'll be able to do a few adjustments. It looks quite a bit different in the way this is right here and the bowl and that kind of stuff, but the main thing I noticed, and it says it'll work with mine, so we yet again shall see, but is that all this stuff is the same, and that seems to be where they differ in the different carburetors. Yeah, I know this isn't going to be near as good as my original one, but it'll get me back on the road for now, and maybe one of these days I will be able to rebuild the original one, maybe even use parts off this, I don't know. And then the other thing, it came with the shutoff valve, which I also was noticing I needed, and this, which I'll probably just use the one that's in there. I probably should switch it out, but I'm not going to worry about it, because really, if they look like this, they're junk anyway. I really should get a different one on there while I'm at it, but yet again, just getting it back working again. I don't want to put a bunch of money or time into it if I can't get it to run and get going anyway. So it does come with a gasket, came with some hose, came with the shutoff valve and some hose clamps, and this little gizmo here, which I'm assuming is somehow to adjust something. Show you as I'm about to go over there and actually empty the oil out. When you have this problem, gas will get down into your crankcase, down into your oil, and it will hydrolock your motor, and a good chance you'll ruin your motor doing that. So you don't want to start it after you find out you have this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and empty the oil out of this, and it'll probably be a mix of gas and oil. And really, to find out, we can pull the dipstick and see kind of what it looks like. At the very least, I can't see it either because I'm in my glasses. We're up to about here, and full is right here. Now this has been sitting for a while, but something else, you can smell the fuel in this, and it's really liquidy. So most of this is probably fuel rather than oil up here. Might have been low on oil actually, probably. So anyhow, biggest test there is more than it being overfilled, but also it smells like gas. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty this out. We have pulled the oil out of this thing. I'm gonna throw some more in. This is just some what I have left over from something else kind of oil. Quite honestly, it probably is the wrong stuff, but it'll work. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to go ahead and change this out after I've ran it a little while. You need to do your own research on all that stuff and do what you feel is necessary for your tractor, but this is what I'm going to do. Quite honestly, I have no idea how much this takes. So I'm using the old gasket here, and the governor spring there's a little separate hole over here. It's too tight to get into here right now, which is where the other one was. So we'll have to play that by ear. I may have to switch that depending on how it runs. But I'm going to not really change it, but I see I kind of got it wrapped around here. Like that idea. shoot. All right, well, we'll go from there. And when I left off, I realized by looking at this that we have a bit of a problem. This does not want to fit over this stuff here and leave enough room, not to mention I can't get to this hole here up to there. Alright, something I noticed about this one that wasn't on the other one is this little nub right here. It's not there, and that seems to be hitting. That was gone with that change. So now I already tell that this part is different down here, but not by a lot. This just seems like it's a little bit spread out over here a little bit. It's just a little bit bigger, it seems like it. But like I said, if you look at this here, it doesn't have this knob here. But all in all, the length between here and here is good. But it doesn't have this here. So I think I'm going to cut that off, and we're going to really try to make this work. Go. That's allowing that to move. Now, the other thing is for some reason, if you look at this one, it's flat here. If you look at this one, it goes kind of in an egress in. I'm just sure that this is probably made for a dozen different tractors now, as everything flies overhead and the birds are going crazy. But so you probably are going to have to make it work unless yours is identical to this one. So I went in and I found a couple of fairly thin washers, some thinnest ones I could find that would fit around this and still kind of hold where I want them to. And I am going to try sticking that on there. The only problem I see that I'm already can tell is not going to work about this is that sticks out too much there. So back to the drawing board. We'll see if this works. I tried some different washers that might work. We'll see. But then I came up and I realized that I had some of this laying out there in this fuel line, and I cut some pieces of that off, and that is just about perfect for size-wise, I think. It should space that out, go in there, into the little hole that's there, and still give enough threads. Plus I can kind of squeeze this up and down depending on what I need. Hopefully it'll hold everything tight. That's the only thing I worry about, is things rattling a little bit loose doing this. Might have to Loctite it or something like that. For right now, we're gonna give her heck. I'm going to just tighten this as much as I can comfortably do it without squeezing that out past where I want it to be. hoping it also will work kind of like a lock washer, where it kind of pushes against it a little bit here. Let's see. Feels pretty good. And that might space it out a little bit more from this, although I think that's fixed just by cutting that knob off right there. We'll see. Once again, to go ahead and stick this PCV valve hose thing on here. So we got that on there. That is working fine. Now the only thing I could see happening from this is if this doesn't squeeze in enough to butt up against the carb, there might be an air leak right here, which could cause problems, but we'll cross that bridge yet again when we get there. Right now, things seem to be somewhat working as far as fitment anyway. Well, let's give her a heck, see what happens. I don't know if the battery's gonna work. Oh, not getting spark because the spark plug was unhooked. Well, there you go. Right out of the box, carburetor worked. I'm pretty happy. This thing hasn't actually idled very well for quite a while. Probably due to that carb. So, for a cheap carb, so far I'm pretty happy. It's quite a bit of smoke, probably because there was a lot of fuel and stuff on things and leaking all over. So, keep an eye on it. I'm going to put the air filter back on and go mow the lawn. Well, YouTube, in the end, that shut-off valve worked. It did shut off the motor, turn the gas off, and let it run dry. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. Does that carburetor work out of the box? Yes and no. No, because I definitely had to do a few modifications to fit it onto this tractor here. Hopefully you can see that in the background. But once I figured things out, it wasn't too difficult, and more than likely this is an older tractor. Yours probably won't be quite this old, and it maybe is made for a little bit newer tractors, I'm assuming. So it might work out of the box that way. Does it work out of the box as far as running? Just mowed my lawn. Hopefully you were able to see some of that. I did run out of battery there, so it definitely worked out of the box. I was able to start it once I figured out my spark plug wire was unhooked. I forgot I did that. But otherwise, yeah, it started right up, right out of the box. I haven't touched a thing. I mowed my whole lawn, didn't need to mess with it. I might tinker with it at some point, but probably not. Hopefully I'll do a little better job of taking care of it so it won't die on me. But regardless, I'll probably rebuild some of these carburetors that I've pulled off these other machines. I also have one on a snowblower that I actually worked on. I bought it probably a couple years ago and haven't finished that yet. Just didn't need it, so I didn't get that project done. So we'll see if I'll have another video of one of these Chinese Amazon out of the box, if it works, carburetors as well on that one. Anyhow, thanks for watching Junk Works DIY Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and obviously master of none. You all have a good one.